If you want to build the organization, build the people. I wish it was that simple. It is not. Building a great employee or organization, both are a very complex function. Organization is nothing but a bunch of people working in synergy with a common purpose. But is this purpose common in reality? Let's understand this more. Purpose of business can be simple or ambitious. Simple like making pizza for pizza lovers, or greater than humanity purposes like colonizing the Mars. Essentially, every organization will have a purpose. While on the other hand, employee also has a purpose to come to work. Some people want to learn, some people want to earn, some want glory, and on and on and on. But essentially, we all want to be more. If you look at it, there is a misalignment of expectations and intentions here. This misalignment is the major reason of attrition, and it contributes to slowdown in more than 82% organizations. How do we address this misalignment? How can we manage our talent more effectively? And most importantly, how do we set clear and meaningful standards for our people to strive for? Hi, everybody. I'm Kshitij, process coach here at Keka. For more than a decade, I've been helping businesses drive 10x growth by designing effective talent management processes. I assist organizations in replacing command-based leadership models with a purpose and trust-driven leadership models. As an OKR coach, I help employees realize the importance of self-management, self-monitoring, and accountability through their work processes. Let's talk about employee performance management. Performance management is an interconnected set of activities to measure and improve the effectiveness of people in the workplace. High-performing organizations use performance management to achieve three primary goals. Number one, to provide employees and organization clearly measurable framework of growth. Number two, to identify performers and non-performers and reward equitably. And number three, and this is most important, to drive overall organization performance by continuous improvement. Performance management establishes the essential dialogue between people's aspiration and the organization's mission. If we look at it, the performance process helps us in lending a sense of purpose to everybody in the organization. But it is not simple. It requires a lot of readiness in your people, your managers, your leaders, and most importantly, as people practitioner, you. I, Kshitij, will help you champion the concept of modern-day performance management. By end of this video, you will be able to understand the concept of continuous performance management. Number two, design a great performance management process for your people that your people will love. Number three, increase employee effectiveness and loyalty to your brand. And most importantly, the point number four, which is making organization performance measurable. As we are just getting started, let me refer a few books for your reference. If you belong to IT organization, Measure What Matters by John Doerr. This book will help you with a deep visibility on performance management processes of some great IT giants like Google, Netflix, and Intel. The second book that I would recommend is the HR Scorecard by Becker and Dave Ulrich. One of the key problems that HR have faced in the last decade is the perception that HR doesn't add to the company strategy. If you want to link your HR process with the business outcome, the HR Scorecard will be a great read. You can write us back at academy@keka.com in case you want to subscribe to any of these books. In this chapter, we are going to discuss the dimensions of employee performance. Let us ask a basic question. What does an employee do for the organization? Employees execute every little business activity, from demand generation to delivery, from planning to distribution. Performance management is the method of increasing the effectiveness of all these business-related activities and making a scalable framework out of it. What do employees require to get these activities done effectively? Can there be a method to categorize these set of business essential activities and making them measurable for the organization? This brings us to the dimensions of employee performance. There are three major dimensions in a broad way. Dimension number one, goals framework. We call it business objectives, goals, KRAs, initiatives. It has a lot of nomenclatures. It is a dimension to communicate what employee needs to do and why. Goals define the results your people should aim to achieve in a specified period of time. Setting goals provides a clear purpose and helps you create a measurable roadmap to success. Goal setting clarifies what matters most in your business and life. They also help you use your time effectively, improve your decision making, increase focus, and make you more productive towards your goals. Dimension number two, the skills and competency dimension. It is a dimension that determines the competence that people require to achieve their goals effectively. A competency framework is a measurement of skills, judgment knowledge, and attributes of a particular job required to perform a role effectively. Competency framework is a means by which organization communicates which behaviors are required, valued, recognized, and eventually rewarded. Framework number three, the core values. To allow people in your organization to make good decisions, we need to implement core values framework. By simply applying the values to new challenges that come along, people will be able to take an effective decision. Core values can help establish and reinforce the desired culture of the organization. Setting expectations for the employees, how they should interact with each other, plus how should they be interacting with the outside world, which is their customers and the vendors. These three dimensions constitute the most important aspect of an employee performance. Let's understand it through an example. I'm taking a simple example of sales development representative. Goals of SDR are likely to be increasing sales revenue. This is a common goal for sales team. It involves setting a target for the total amount of sales revenue that the team should be generating in a period of time. Another common goal for sales team is to expand the customer base by reaching out to the new potential customers and converting them into paying customers, improving sales efficiency. Sales team may set a goal to improve their efficiency in a sales process, such as reducing the time it takes to close a deal or increasing the number of deals closed per sales representative. This is another objective that people have. Now, once the goals of the salespeople is clear, let's take a look at the competencies. The competencies required for sales can vary depending upon the types of sales and the industry. But here are some of the common competencies that are important for the success in sales. Number one, communications. Salespeople need excellent communication skills to effectively listen and understand customer needs, as well as to clearly and persuasively communicate the value of the product and service. Customer focus. Successful salespeople focus on needs and desires of their customers and are able to tailor their sales approach to meet those needs. Number three, sales process management. Salespeople should be able to manage the sales process from the start to finish, which includes multiple steps. There are a lot of milestones involved, right? From doing first level meeting to eventually signing a contract. Number four, product knowledge. Salespeople need to have deep understanding of the product or service, including its feature, benefits, and how it compares to the competitors. Here are some of the core values that can guide ethical and effective sales practices. Integrity. What is integrity? Salespeople should always act with honesty, transparency, and integrity, and avoid making false or misleading statements or promises to customers. Value number two, respect. Salespeople should show respect to their customers, colleagues, competitors, and the entire network that they have. This will make sure that they have certain amount of fairness, dignity, and professionalism in them. Number three, trustworthiness. Salespeople should build and maintain trust with their customers by following through on commitments, delivering on promises, and protecting customer information. As human resource professionals, measuring all these dimensions of employee performance and improving them over a period of time is a key to inform organization success. It also determines the worthiness of an HR strategy of the organization. As employee performance directly impacts the organization performance, it becomes critical for HR professionals to have a smart process in place. A performance management process is a systematic approach to assess and improve employee performance. It typically involves a series of steps that help employees and their managers to set clear performance expectations, track progress towards the goals, identify strengths and weaknesses, at the same time provide ongoing feedback and support. During a performance management cycle, a manager works with each employee to set appropriate and impact-driven goals. They also help employees explore how they can achieve the goals, providing resources and support to put the goals into action, and most importantly, review and reward performance against these goals. Taken together, this allows a performance management cycle to function as a holistic process and to deliver top results for the organization. From an organization standpoint, performance management cycle has 4 phases. Let's take a deeper look at these phases. Number 1, performance planning. This phase is the starter of the cycle and is best executed at the beginning of the year. And it constitutes a very distinctive set of activities. This includes identifying what matters to the organization, to departments, to line managers, to employees, and everybody in the ecosystem. In an ideal scenario, goal setting happens from top to bottom at the beginning of the year. The frequency of the goal setting is decided based upon the logics of the work. We start creating the vision and mission of the organization with the leaders first. Then we go about figuring out strategic goals and objectives which different departments will aim in foreseeable future to achieve the mission of the organization. Once the departments are clear with what business outcomes will they drive, managers and line managers help employees in setting the communicating the individual goals. These goals should be SMART in nature. SMART is an acronym for specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound, and should provide employee a clear sense of what they need to do and why they need to do it. It is also suggested that we define weightages to these objectives to determine the priority and importance of the objective. 2 important things in this phase is to make sure, number 1, once the goals are set, employees should have opportunity to give acknowledgement on their goals. They are the ones doing the job and will have key insight in what skills, competencies, and goals will best assist the company to achieve organization goals. This will help you in creating the role-wise competency framework as well. Number 2, one-to-one meetings with the manager. This is a highly value-driving meeting, as in this meeting, manager will help the individual understand the roles and realize targets. Manager and employees both agree to the definition of the role, goals, and objectives. This step provides a manager an opportunity to explain employee how their goals are linked with the organization desire. By doing these steps, we make sure that the employee feels that they are involved in goal setting. Coming to the phase number 2, performance monitoring. Over a period of time, the performance management as a process has evolved. Before the technology revolution, performance management process was more of a static exercise, where goals were set by the employees in the beginning of the year and they were evaluated in the end of the year to figure out what kind of performance people did on it. It was largely done to figure out the compensation revision which is required for the people. But in the current times, cloud technology has revolutionized the way monitoring of performance management is done. Monitoring has become a continuous process with an honest intent of employee coaching and development through the constructive feedback. We can understand the monitoring in 4 major steps. Step number 1, revisiting objectives and progress check-ins. As the set goals are measurable in nature, it is extremely important that employees revisit their goals and check if they are on track. It is best to feed these objectives in a performance management tool where they can update progress. Using these check-ins will make sure that managers have a clear visibility on the status of the objectives at all times. Step number 2, providing necessary inputs and solutions for improving effectiveness. This activity is required to be done by the managers. Accountability is often a bitter experience for the employees, and hence it is important that managers provide developmental inputs and constructive feedback on objectives to help employees stay on top of their game. Step number 3, review meetings. It is a goal review meeting between employee and managers where we revisit objectives and see if the understanding of objectives and managers on the goal progress is the same. Step number 4, reiteration of objectives. As the performance management process continues, management should revisit objectives to see if the adjustments should be made, as well as to pay attention to career development opportunities for their employees. Step number 3, performance reviewing. The performance review process is an evaluation of employees' work, performance at the set objectives and KPIs. This phase answers a lot of questions for us. Questions like, were personal and organization objectives met? If not, why? What challenges did the employee face? What trainings would help the employee perform better? How did management feedback help? If not, why? How could the process be made better? Was the time spent on this process effective? The frequency of a review ideally depends upon the criticality of the job function. If we look at an organization, the criticality of a job function varies. There are business critical departments like sales, manufacturing, and there are organic departments like HR, admin, etc. The respective function heads can best suggest the kind of frequency the review process should have. Today, I see organizations commonly following quarterly, biannual, and annual review processes. Performance review phase constitutes largely 5 steps. Digitizing performance. Ratings are a method of digitize the feedback, make it more measurable. The final performance and potential score of employee is calculated by weighted average method of computation. Calibration. During the performance evaluation process in the organization, managers rate employees from their own points of view. Normalized rating is a tool that balances the variability and the differentiation in the assessment patterns. Step number 3, promotion recommendation. Review gives us an opportunity to determine if the employee is ready or scale up to a higher responsibility. Managers are ideally the best stakeholders to answer this. Step number 4, training need identification. Review process also provides us an opportunity to capture the training needs of an employee. Step number 5, future objectives. In this phase, managers also sit with the employee and determine the future objectives for the upcoming timeframes. This makes sure that the cycle stays cyclic. Step number 4, rewarding. Today, organizations are showing a high degree of commitments toward reinforcement of reward practices, which are aligned with the HR practices, and the goals of the organization for attracting, retaining, and motivating employees. Efficient reward practices helps in attracting result-driven professionals who can thrive and succeed in performance-based environments. Hence, it is a crucial motivator and will contribute towards the enhancement of productivity of the employees, if implemented properly. Largely, rewards are of 2 types, intrinsic rewards and the extrinsic rewards. Intrinsic rewards are the non-physical rewards. They cannot be seen or touched, but are emotionally connected with the employees. In other words, intrinsic rewards can be defined as the feeling of contentment one finds in completion of any tasks. Intrinsic reward is directly related to job performance, as a successful task automatically produces it. Higher the success rates, higher will be the rate of intrinsic rewards one receives. Different people have different perception, and therefore there are various forms of intrinsic rewards, some of which are, number 1, sense of achievement. Number 2, word of praise from the seniors. Number 3, recognition. Number 4, work freedom and autonomy. Now let's move to the extrinsic rewards. Extrinsic rewards are the physical ones that come from an employer for the exceptional services provided by the employee. Some of these rewards are salary increase, bonus and commissions, incentives and benefits, promotions, and ESOPs. Performance monitoring and review are the two most difficult phases to execute in absence of a technology. There are a lot of stakeholders involved in the process of performance management. This makes it even more difficult. Every stakeholder is required to do their part in an effective manner. Execution of the entire process over paper or Excel is a cumbersome process due to the dynamics involved. It becomes critical for the organizations to have a system in place which could drive the process in an automated manner and produce required analytics to improve performance. The needs of stakeholder can be diversified into three broad segments. Number one, employee needs. Number two, managerial needs. And number three, organization needs. Employee needs the performance management system to identify and record objectives and KPIs along with the competencies and core values, to check in progress of objectives and keep a track record of the health of the objectives, to raise a trigger in case of any roadblocks, and finally, to share a self-feedback. Managers and department heads need performance management system to share developmental inputs timely to the employee, to set targets and expectations, to monitor goal sheet progress of employee at a real-time basis. Organization needs performance management system to make performance process time-bound and precise. Usually, if we look at it, the process of performance management is stressed due to the unavailability of stakeholders. And automated systems make sure that the cyclic reminders get pushed to the people to perform activities timely, collecting and sorting data. All objectives are linked to the organization objectives. Hence, it is important to understand the alignment of these objectives. Systems today come with the capability of cascading objectives, which will link the objectives of the organization from top to bottom. Number three, driving performance indicators and achieve business outcome. The most important aspects of having this system in place is to boost employee performance through the timely constructive feedbacks. Number four, determining performance bands. Performance management software helps determine which employees are performing better than the others, so you can take informed staffing decisions. It also helps you in keeping a bird eye view on your performance bands. Which of the people are top performers, which of the people are non-performers, and which of the people are mid-performers. It will also give you an idea that which of these people will become a potential performer in the future. With this, we come to the conclusion of the session. I hope you enjoyed the concept of performance management and you will use beautifully in your organization. For any queries that you have, you can always write us back at academy@keka.com. You can personally reach me out at kshitij.s@keka.com. You will find the link in the descriptions. I hope you enjoyed the nitty-gritties of performance management. For more in-depth and free HR certification courses, sign up at academy.keka.com. Also, like, share, and subscribe for more videos like this.